Well, here we go for the first time. There it is. And there it is. Well, it's quite a pain getting it lined up with the arms on the lift, or getting the arms lined up with this chassis. You got to get it exactly in the middle, and there's all kinds of obstructions in the way. You can see here how close it is to the 4 bars. I don't know, maybe I'm putting it in the wrong place, because obviously there's nothing here telling me where to pick it up from. But you could see it's rather limited. The arms are fully extended, and it just barely clears everything it's got to clear. In fact, it didn't clear this 4 bar. As it came up, you can hear it run off the edge of it, clunk. So, like I said, you know what I think it would help is if I rolled it back a couple of inches, 2, 3, 4 inches. It won't go very far, but that would help. But anyway, you can see the mock-up motor all hogged out. This is, obviously you can see it's a long-term project. It's been sitting in the other garage now for 20 years. So that's what explains all the surface rust. And obviously you can see a lot of the welding is only tacked at this point. So it's fabricated and tacked, and it will need to be all disassembled and finally welded. But as you can see, the brake lines are run, and this is my first attempt at doing brake lines, so I'm hoping I did all of the, what do you call that, double flares, and didn't overdo them and all that other good stuff. We will see. As you see, it's got saddle tanks, one there, and then it's got a selector valve. So what happens here is the fuel comes out of the tank, goes to the filter, and then from the filter goes over to the selector on both sides. And then obviously there's a selector switch going to be inside that determines which tank you're sucking off of. Master cylinder, oil cooler, battery box hanging down underneath the seat. I have a drive shaft, it's just not in here right now. And this, what you see here, this cross shaft thing, is for the emergency brake. See the cable? I didn't want an emergency brake cable running from one side at the emergency brake up there, all the way across the chassis over to the other wheel. So I was trying to do something that, you can see here, the cable will hook on here, go forward through this, you know, the sheathing will attach to that bracket, and then it'll go up there to where one cable up to the handbrake, and then obviously 2 cables off the cross shaft. But anyway, this is your first look underneath. There's a whole lot more work to get done here. What I'm going to start with first thing is doing the routing for the wiring. I'm going to try and use the frame channels as much as I can, like a conduit. So I'm going to, you know, come down out of the cab, drill a hole, put a grommet, go into the frame channel, and then drill a hole, put another grommet towards the back somewhere, come out from my tail lights and all the brake lights, all that other stuff, the selector switch here. So there'll be a number of holes coming out the side of the frame. And one hole pretty much right up here, because this is the floor. You see where my hand is? That's where the, no, actually right up here. I can come down out of the, off of the fuse panel right here into the top of the frame and then go both directions towards the front for the headlights. And I might do that on both sides. Towards the front for the headlights and the fan and all the other engine wiring, all that other stuff. Anyway, this is our first time up in the air. It's nice standing underneath it instead of laying underneath it. And as you can see in the garage, we've got, this week we've got the bench completed. Put the masonite top on. That was kind of a chore. I did the contact cement, and the back side of the masonite was real coarse. You know how some of it is smooth and some of it is coarse? This was the coarse variety. And I glued it 3 different times, made 3 passes with the glue, and I did the plywood on the top of the workbench 2 times. And when I went to stick it, it didn't seem like, you know, it's not the old-fashioned contact cement you do where it touches and it won't move. I had the dowels there, and you'll see, you saw the pictures. I had some still pictures of that. But on the edges, it didn't want to stick, it seemed like. So I ended up putting a row of brads down both edges, down the front side and down the back side. In the middle, it seemed pretty good, but, and then I put clamps down the front side too. But anyway, then I put the pegboard the next day, so I got to go get some of the hooks and start hanging stuff. The vise, typical people design tools that never used them. You see how I have the piece of plywood in there, so to see where the edge would line up when I bolt it down. Well, the base, in order for something to go in the vise and clear the edge of the bench, the bolt is almost off the edge of the bench. So I'm going to have to make a plate out of some flat stock so I can offset the mounting bolts and allow something to go in the vise and hang down past the face of the bench. You know, sometimes you got a long piece you want to clamp. It can't do it if it interferes with the edge of the bench. But anyway, so that's kind of where we're at. Got these tables installed. All that stuff that's in the back of the truck, you haven't seen it because it's still all in the back of the truck. All that stuff in the back of the truck's going to come out of there and go on here. And I got more of these, so I'm going to probably put, you see there's another batch right there. I think I'm going to put another row right there, just like those. And I've got quite a few more that I'm thinking I might put up on the loft. Thinking I might run them like in rows from the high side back towards where it gets too low. You know, put them like one level, maybe 15 inches up off the deck, and just run them from the high side until they run into the ceiling. That would give me like 2 levels of stuff, and run them like you would a warehouse, where you have one table going from here towards the outside wall, and then 2 feet for you to crawl in between, and another table, and then 2 feet, and another, that kind of thing. Rows of tables. I've got about 12 of them or something like that. So I'm going to try that and see how it works, if it looks like it'll work, because that would allow me to put a lot of stuff up there. And you know how you start gathering stuff. Here's some of the stuff in here now that's been stored underneath the house for a long time. I've got a whole batch. I was really tickled with, I used to like rally wheels, you know, the Vet, the 8x15s, and I started collecting them a while back. I have them on the 57 Chevy, and I've got all of these as spares. I even have 1 or 2 more with tires on them in another location. So I'm going to start getting rid of these. I don't need all of those. I'll never use that many of them. But again, starting to bring automotive stuff into here where I can store all the automotive stuff in one place. But anyway, this is getting kind of long. That's it for now. Well, I got that tip this week too. Figure I'm going to be changing oil here now that I have access to getting underneath cars much easier, so I got one of these. It's not a real high dollar, or, you know, I think it holds 8 gallons. Should work for us. All right, anyway, talk to you later. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Have a good one. Bye.